welcome to Business Growth Bootcamp. So what we're talking about today, it's our second coaching session focused on sales. And we're going to talk about why sales is such a powerful and necessary part of your business and how you can do sales in a way that doesn't feel sleazy, but really feels authentic. And so in order for us to begin this session, I invite you to close your eyes and to remember a time in your life where you were really of service to someone. A time when you really helped somebody and they turned to you and said, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for me. Thank you for the difference that the time or the money or the wisdom that you have invested in me has made in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want you to connect with that sense of gratitude that they're feeling. And I want you to think about how you feel, your emotions of pride, your emotions of joy, of happiness to be a part of someone's transformation, of knowing that your life is actually making meaningful contributions to others. So connect with what that feels like in your heart, what that feels like in your body, how warm that makes you feel. And I want you to recognize that this feeling that you're connecting with right now is something that you can experience every day. You can recreate this feeling every day in a sales conversation. So I invite you to open your eyes and to really acknowledge what it means to have sales as service, to have a sales conversation that doesn't fill you with dread and make you want to run away, but something that allows you to be excited and anticipating the call. And you're excited not because of how much money you can make from sales. You're excited because of the difference that you can make in someone's life with just a conversation. And so that's what we're going to learn how to do today, or that's what I'm covering again, how to do today, what it means to have these powerful sales conversations that change lives and build your business. So the first thing is to recognize that the whole point of a sales conversation is not to make a sale. The point of a sales conversation is to compel the other person on the phone to take action, to make a decision to do something differently in their life so that they can reap the reward. And the way that you compel them to take action is not by what you say, telling them all the rational reasons why they should take action. You compel them based on their own self-interest, based on what's most important to them. So in this conversation, you are going to learn what's most important to them, the things that they really care about, and then use that rationale to compel them to make a decision to help themselves. So that's the point of the sales conversation. So remember when we were talking about marketing message and recognizing, that you are essentially functioning like the Underground Railroad, that there are people who are enslaved. Their lives are limited, hindered, they're in pain as a result of these life situations that they find themselves in, and they want to be free. But they don't really know how. They may be afraid to even try. And so in a sales conversation, that's your opportunity to ask them, do you want to be free? And do you want my help in that process? So the goal is not focused on you. It is actually focused on the other person. And in a sales conversation, you are the purpose, your intention is to transfer inspiration, right? To feel it in your own heart and then transfer that inspiration to the person on the other side of the phone or on the other side of the table if you do these conversations in person. So in a sales conversation, your job before you get on that call is to fill yourself with such certainty certainty that change for this person is possible, certainty that you can help them accomplish that change, and excitement and hope for their future. And then you show up feeling all of that excitement and hope for their future, and you actually transfer that to them in the process of a sales conversation. So all emotions are contagious. So you feel something, and then the people who are around you can kind of literally catch that emotion like we catch a cold. And so when you're thinking about that's true for positive emotions, it's also true for negative emotions. That's why when you're around people and they're just kind of, mad or angry or depressed, whatever, you find yourself starting to feel those emotions as well. And that works for joy and excitement too. So what you do is create the emotional context, the climate for the sales conversation before you even get on the call. And you create that climate with the intention of inviting this other person into that climate so that they can make the kind of life transformation that you want for them and that they want for themselves. So I'll tell you about how to make that conversation, how to create that climate in a little bit. The other thing to recognize with the sales conversation is that sales is a skill. And like any other skill, it can be learned. You are not born an excellent salesperson, and you are not destined to be a horrible salesperson, right? I was telling the story last night of my adorable baby great nephew who was just born this week. And, he is so cute and little, and all he can do is cry and open up his eyes sometimes and drink milk. Like that's all he can do. He doesn't have, and poop. But he doesn't have other skills, right? So I could say, well, he's just not a math person, or he's not a solid foods person, or he's not a person that can walk. Of course he is, and he can do all of those things, even though he hasn't yet done any of those things yet, because he hasn't learned how to do them. He hasn't developed the necessary skills and strengths in order to do them, but he can and he will. And I'm 100% sure that he'll be able to have these experiences the same way I'm 100% sure that you'll be able to be an excellent salesperson. I don't care if you haven't had a successful sales experience up until now. You can develop those skills the same way my great nephew can develop the skills of being an excellent solid food eater. So what we're going to do in our training today is to review what are the skill sets that set you up to be excellent in sales conversations. And in the handout that you have, let me actually move us to, I'm going to share my screen and show you. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to look at the levels that it takes to become a master at anything. So the first level is understanding impact, right? So this is where we ask yourself, why am I learning this? And these levels work for anything that you're trying to learn, but right now we're focusing them on sales. Right? So why do you want to learn how to be successful at sales? Ask yourself and answer it. Like, of course, you cannot have a business without sales. Sales is the heart of any business. I don't care what that is. And if you have a business and your business is focused on doing great things in the world, sales is the vehicle that allows that to happen. And a lot of people get turned off from sales, particularly women who are really committed to social justice, to making a positive change in the world, to loving other people, because sales feels inauthentic. But the point is, you don't have to be manipulative to be an excellent salesperson. You don't have to be pushy. And so what we're going to learn today is how to sell from an authentic place that is as loving and as transformative as the service that you provide through your business. So First, you want to think about why this is important to you, why you want to learn these skills, because this is what's going to motivate you to stick with it and practice, because it is not easy. It is simple, but it's not easy. The second thing that you want to do is to repeat over and over and over again. Repetition is how you're going to build your sales strength. Now, when I was in grade school, we used to learn, we'd have to write things out 100 times. We have to write out our spelling words. Then we'd have to spell them. We'd have to close our eyes and spell them. And so the idea is that you want to engage as many senses as possible in your practice of whatever skill. So you want to hear it, you want to write it, and you want to speak it. And so the way that you can use that in learning sales is that there's a part of your sales conversation that you want to write out. And then you want to practice saying it to your partner, saying it to your kids, and of course, saying it to every single person that shows up on your sales conversation. You want to write it out. You want to maybe record into a microphone yourself saying it, and then listen to that over time so that you can get really comfortable with this material and it becomes a part of you. The third level is utilization, and that's basically you use it or you lose it, right? So everything needs to be practiced. Whatever isn't used, after a while, you experience atrophy around it. And so the skills that we're learning and the way this whole business growth bootcamp is set up is for you to learn something and then go out and apply it. And every time you learn and apply and then reflect on what you've learned, then you are able to achieve mastery at a much faster route. And so at the end of every sales conversation, I'll go over what you can do, what kind of reflection questions you can ask yourself that will allow you to achieve mastery very quickly. The next thing that you want to practice is you keep practicing it until it becomes internalized. So you've reached the level of internalization of a skill when it becomes something that feels natural. It feels easy for you. Although it used to not be easy. It used to not be an unconscious habit. It was a very conscious thing that you were practicing, but you've practiced it so much that it becomes an unconscious habit. And so the next level after that, the highest level of mastery, is to continue to reinforce those practices and those habits that actually allowed you to be successful. So sometimes when people reach their highest level of success, they feel like this feels easy, I can do this, no problem. And then they stop doing the exact habits that allow them to be successful. So the skills that you're learning today, you will be able to use throughout your entire business career. Like there's never a time that you're not using these skills, and you'll get better and better at them, but you don't ever want to throw them away. So this is about how you can become a successful sales person, and to recognize that success in any area of your life is really about making a decision. You decide to be successful. And when you make that decision is what compels you to act in ways that will ultimately bring you success. So if you have decided that you are going to be a successful business owner, and you have decided that you are going to be a successful salesperson, then these are the steps that you'll take in order to make that decision a reality. So the last thing that I want to say about the sales process is that sales is really about asking questions. Sales is not this unilateral conversation where you just come in and you tell somebody why they should do this thing and why this is the best thing for them, and all the things that you think are important to them. That's coming from you. Sales is about getting to know someone, asking the right questions, letting them tell you what's important to them, not what you think is important, but what they really want, what they're really trying to care about. And so what makes you an excellent salesperson is that you really care about the person on the other side. You really care about what's important to them, and you want to help them accomplish that. So you aren't focused on yourself, you're focused on them. And one of the ways that you can combat call reluctance, or call reluctance is people not wanting to pick up the phone, salespeople not wanting to pick up the phone and call people and ask them for a sale. So the reason why we don't want to do it is it creates anxiety for us. And one of the reasons why it creates anxiety is because we're thinking about ourselves, right? We're thinking about, how's this person going to think of me? What am I going to say? How am I going to feel if they say no, right? It's all me, me, me. But when we approach sales from a position of love and service, all we're thinking about is the other person. That's who we're thinking about. What's going to happen to them if they don't solve this problem? How can I help them? How can I be a good listener and really understand what they're struggling with and then help them come up with some possible solutions? So that's sales as an act of love. And the beautiful thing is that love and fear are mutually exclusive emotions. Right? So the opposite of fear is love, and the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear. And so as you connect with love, it actually pushes fear into the background. And vice versa, as we connect with fear, it eclipses love. So just like the sun, love is always there, but our ability to see it, to connect with it, to be warmed by its light gets dimmed and lessened when we're focused on fear. And so when we're focused on love and connecting with the love that we feel and the love and concern that we feel for the other person, it actually, pushes that fear to the background. I won't say it makes it totally go away, but you'll find when you're feeling afraid, you're much more focused on you than you are that other person. And as you focus on the other person, it will take a lot of that fear away. So in a coaching session, I have here a list of questions, a list of benefits that asking questions actually gives to you. So asking questions is the best way to run a sales conversation. And these are just a list of 12 benefits, 12 reasons why asking questions is helpful. So take time to review that list. If you have any questions about the value of asking questions, please ask, and I'll answer those questions, and we can talk a lot more about that. But what I really wanted to get into for our session today is the template for your sales conversation. And you can call your sales conversation whatever fancy name you want to call it. It can be a consultation, it can be a strategy session, it could be a coaching session, intake, whatever it is that you want to call it. But the point is that this conversation is designed to add value to the person who is coming to the call. And it's also designed for you to understand whether or not this person is your ideal client. If they're not your ideal client, you do not want to invite them into working with you. Right? It's not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for you. So the goal is not necessarily to sell every person that you talk to. The goal is to help every person that you talk to. And for some of those people, that help will be working with you. And for some of those people, that help will be something else. And so that's why our focus is not on making sales, but on being of service and on helping that person to make a decision. That's the only thing you want them to do. Decide, do they want to solve this problem or not? And that's the service that you bring to them. So this template to help you approach sales from this very loving, authentic way that is focused on serving is called the I service you system. There's really not a you in it. It's I service, but the implication is you are serving the person that's in front of you. And so each of those letters of I service is an acronym that tells you both the purpose of that part of the sales conversation and the order of the sales conversation. So I'm going to walk you through that process right now. So I is about intention. And so this is something that you do before you even get on the call, right? You set the intention for how you're going to show up and serve that person. Because remember, I said sales is a transfer of inspiration. So you have to connect with those emotions of certainty, connect with those emotions of love, so that you can inspire the other person that you're talking to. And so here is where you calm and center yourself. You focus on, this is a divine person who is loved. It's somebody's mother, it's someone's child, it's someone's brother, sister. There are people who love this person, and this person is hurting. And the same way you would want someone to care for a person that you love, you have the privileged position to communicate that care for someone else's loved one. And so it's a very important and sacred role that you are in this sales conversation. And you want to take the time to connect with that first, to recognize their humanity, to recognize their value, and to recognize your purpose in communicating care and support for them. So if you have rituals that you like to do that help to center you, I would encourage you to do those rituals. For me, I have a special candle that I light that helps kind of prepare me for the work that I'm about to do. I'll do a short meditation. I'll spend, some time with my hand on my heart and my eyes closed, and just really getting into a presence of, how can I support this person that is going to be on the other end of the call with me. So once you have done that and you can feel, because again, emotions are transferable. So you want to feel certain, hopeful, compassionate towards that person. That's when you pick up the phone and you call them. So the S in service is when you're actually talking to the person. And the goal here is to socialize and set the agenda. So here you want to focus first on building rapport. Again, recognizing they are transitioning from whatever they were doing to now being on the call. They may not know you well, and so you want to take time to just greet them and human to human, have a human connection. And then you want to set the agenda. So you want to let them know what they can expect. Right? So in our call today, it'll take about 30 minutes. We're going to spend some time digging deep into some of the things that you really, really want for your life, right? What your goals are. And then we're going to look at some of the things that are stopping you from having that. And at the end of that, once I really understand what you want and what's holding you back, then I'll be able to share with you some steps that you can take right now that'll start to move you towards accomplishing that goal that you have for yourself. How does that sound for you? So you always want to give them an overview of what to expect, the order, and you always want to end with a question. How does that sound for you? And so you want to get them to agree to the process. Again, asking a question. So you can frame that however you want. It doesn't take a lot of time. Just 30 seconds will be good. You also want to let the person know that you are taking notes on the call. And that communicates to them that what they're saying is really important, that you're really focused and listening to them, and you really care about what it is that they have to say. And it makes you seem more professional. So there was some research that I was reading that said that people are 60% more likely to buy anything when they know that the other person that they're talking to is taking notes based on what they said. So again, it's just a way of you positioning yourself as an expert, and an expert who is giving your time to this person so that you can help them. So that's what you want to do in the S, socialize and set the agenda. And in setting the agenda, I want to just let you know how important it is that you approach this like you're a medical doctor or a lawyer. But I think a doctor is even better, right? When we go to our doctors, because they have a certain amount of expertise, and we want them to use that expertise in a way that benefits us physically, that allows us to be healthy. So we expect them to ask us questions. We try to be as honest as we can, or we should be as honest as we can, and then they'll give us a recommendation at the end. It is ultimately our decision whether or not we're going to follow their prescription. You can write out a prescription, I can take it and never get it fulfilled. That's okay. That's my right to control what happens in my body. But what I expect from you is that you will give me your best thinking and helping me. And so that's the position that you take on the call, right? So you really want to have a position of authority in an expert, and you are using that to help the person that you're talking to. So that's S. Okay, E, explore the goal. You want to start by figuring out what this person wants. And when I say what they want, I mean what they really, really want. What's the dream behind the goal? Because we walk around wearing our social mask all the time. People ask us, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm whatever. That is just a thing that we're supposed to say because it's socially acceptable, right? You ask little kids, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer, right? It's just something that we say, that we've been taught to say, because it'll seem appropriate, a good thing for other people, and they'll smile and move on. So when you ask people, what do you want? The first thing they're going to tell you is something that they think is socially acceptable. Oh, I want to grow my business. I want to get more clients, or, I want to get healthy. I want to lose 10 pounds, right? But that's just the veneer. That's not, why do you want to get healthy? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to grow your clients? Why do you want to do these things? When you start to probe more deeply, you'll find out that really what they want is to feel beautiful. They want to be desired. They want to feel acceptable. They want to feel like they've made an impact in the world. They want to feel like a good mother. They want to feel successful, right? When we want money, what we really want is what we think money can buy. Right? I want to be free. I want to be respected. I want to have adventure in my life. And that's what I think I can get by getting 5 more clients, or by losing, 10 more pounds. So you really want to dig deep, and the quality of your digging to uncover their desire is directly related to the quality of your ability to close a sale and to get them to make a decision. Because we are only moved to act in things that we really care about. It doesn't matter if you care about it. It doesn't matter if you're telling them they should care about it. It only matters if it's something that they really care about. Because there is going to be some challenge and some work required getting from here, where you are now, to here, your goal. And the only thing that's going to hold people up in that process is, I really, really want this. So if you can get them to connect, and they're not going to be connected to it at the beginning, your job is to ask questions, and ask enough questions, and show enough interest in them that they start to reveal things that they've never revealed before. They've never even really thought about before, because they haven't gone beyond the surface, right? So that's your goal in these questions. And as I was sharing before, you really don't want to ask a lot of why questions, because it's hard for people to answer them, and it also puts people on the defensive. So, I want to, have a 6-figure business. Great. When you have a 6-figure business, how is your life going to be different? When you lose 10 pounds, how is your life going to be different? Because once they start talking about that difference, that's the thing that they really want, right? And you can just start to ask more questions. Tell me, what does that look like? How's that going to feel, right? And you want to get them emotionally connected to that. Okay, so that's the explore the why and go deep. Then the R is to recount challenges. So figure out, this is something they really, 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 really want, and they don't have it. They wouldn't be sitting in your office or talking to you on the phone if they did. So they don't have it. They're not comfortable. And you want to understand, why don't they have it? What are some of the things that they've tried that hasn't worked? Maybe they haven't even tried before because they didn't believe it was possible for them, right? They just sat there in fear. Whatever it is, those barriers could be external or they could be internal. But whatever it is, you have to understand what is that dragon that has them locked up and not living their dream life. And so as you now understand both what they want and why they don't have it, then you can start to move on to the position where you can lay out how you can help them get that. So the first thing you want to do is to validate their goal and to share your plan for achieving it. So a lot of times people haven't given voice to their goals, to their true desires, because they think other people think it's ridiculous, it sounds impossible, it feels crazy. Who do they think they are to even want such a thing? And so your validation of that goal is very important. It's very important to have someone listen to you and say, I believe you can have that. I believe you deserve that. Like, yes, you can definitely have this thing that you want and what you've been looking for. And then you give them a strategy to get it. So when you are validating their goal, you're letting them know that you have heard them and you are helping them by giving them a way to accomplish that goal. So here in your validation, you want to use the words that they use about their dream. So if they are talking about, freedom to spend my summers on the beach in Naples playing in the sand with my children, that's what you use when you are validating. We can build your business so that you can spend your summers in Naples on the beach playing with your children every day, right? That's your validation. And in terms of giving them the plan to achieve it, you want that plan to be at like the 30-foot level, right? So it's kind of like an airplane coming down. So you can see, the land masses. You don't necessarily see the individual shaped houses. You don't necessarily see the roads, but you can kind of see, we're going over the coast of New Jersey now, right? So that's the level that you give them, or the first couple of steps that they need to take in order to achieve their goal. There's still going to be more that they'll have to do. So either you tell them this is how it gets done, and these are the 1, 2, 3 milestones, but you don't actually tell them how to do those milestones, or you tell them, doing this one concrete thing will bring you, to this point of success. But we know that, they're still going to need to do more things in order to get ultimately to their goal. So that's just bringing them to the first step. So depending on what your services or your product is, you'll think about how you want to share your plan. But the idea is that your plan is tailor-made for them to bring them to their goal. You're not talking about your program. You're not talking about anything else aside from what they want for themselves, right? So if they want to lose weight so they can look sexy at their high school reunion, you are not talking about the health benefits and living long and seeing their grandchildren. That's not important to them. That's not what they talked about. You're only focused on giving them their dream, and this is how they get it. And once you've given that to them, then you ask a question. This is the I. You invite feedback from them, and you invite them into your program. So you invite feedback by first asking them, right? What did you like about what I just shared with you? And so this is their opportunity to enroll themselves, right? They give you feedback around how you've already helped them and how they can see how, following your plan can actually bring them this thing that they really desire. So that's the value of asking the question. Whatever you say when you're telling people this is how I can help you and this is what it's going to do for you, they don't really trust or believe what you've said, right? We are in a very skeptical society. And so I don't trust what people tell me, but I trust what I tell myself, right? I hear things in my voice all the time. And so when I say, this is what's going to help me reach my goal, then I believe it because I trust myself. So you never want to sell someone and tell them why they have to join your program in order to reach their goal. You just lay out for them what are the steps they need to accomplish to reach their goal, and then ask them, what did they like about that process? What do they like about what you just shared? And listen to them. So after they've told you like all the things that they like and how they believe that this program can, or this process will help them meet their goal. We haven't talked about a program yet. It's a process. You're not talking about your product. Once we've established that the process, the strategy works, that's when you invite them into your program. So that's when you say, would you like for me to help you do this? And this is how we can do it. And you give them, again, a very general overview of your program. Don't get into all the bells and whistles and all the weeds and all that stuff, because again, it's not about you and your program. They don't really care about your program. They care about getting the outcome. And so all you say is, you know, these things, these milestones that I've laid out for you, I can help you achieve each of these milestones. This is what we'll do in order to achieve them. And at the end, you will be on the other side in the land of freedom, enjoying your freedom. And once you've done that, then you do your call to action. So the sharing your offer is information, right? And you're inviting them to join your program, and you're explaining how that program is going to give them only the things that they have already told you they want. Don't talk about anything in your program that isn't directly related to what they want, even if it's other good stuff. Just let them experience it as icing on the cake, as a surprise bonus, that it has no role here. We're only focused on what they want. So after you've given them that information, right, you've invited them into the program, you've given them that information, you want to do a call to action. That's the C, because the call to action is when their decision-making process starts. They haven't been making a decision up until now because they've been exploring, right? They've been exploring their goals, they've been exploring their struggle, they've been listening to your information. None of this has been focused on making a decision. Now is where they start to make the decision. And your call to action needs to be very explicit and to assume the sale. So lots of times we believe that if we just give people information, then they're going to say, oh, thank you so much. Can I join? Or how much does it cost? Or, you know, how do I sign up? That rarely ever happens because, again, people are afraid to make decisions. They're afraid to make the wrong decision. It's a very stressful process. And so your job is to support them in making a decision by asking them to make a decision. So this is what your call to action could look like. After you've talked about your program and how it's going to help them reach their goal, and you could say, you know, so we have two options. You can either do a full pay or you can have monthly installments. Which one works for you? Or you can say, this is what the process looks like, and we'll do this and this and then this. So how about we get started? How does Monday look for your first day in the program? Let's set up our first session. How does your calendar look for next week? So once you've asked them that, now they are either going to say yes, they're going to say, no, this isn't for me. I don't want to work with you, which they rarely say, but they may, and that's okay. That's a decision. Those two are decisions. Or they'll start kind of doing this yes, but, oh, I don't know if I have money, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's like the objection handling, and we can talk about that at future trainings. Just know that that's not making a decision. And so your goal is to continue the conversation until they make a decision. It doesn't matter if their decision is yes or no, because that is not what shapes your life. And this is not about you. It's about them. So as long as they are living in this sea of indecisiveness, they will never get what it is that they want. So your call to action, you ask for a very specific decision, and that decision is a financial commitment. It's important that it's a financial commitment because we have lots of emotions about money, and that's how we make our decisions, right? Like what we're really trying to decide is whether or not we want to do this. And so the idea of paying for something, the rubber meets the road, right? It actually increases our commitment to doing that thing. And there's a lot of research behind this that, when you give someone something for free or when you have them pay for it, it changes how they perceive that thing. It changes their own level of commitment and their willingness to show up. And if you've ever shopped at a dollar store or a $5 store, you know that people who shop there like to buy things that they really aren't going to use and don't take good care of. Because that's the idea. I can buy something and it's just $1. So, who cares if I don't take good care of it? It's not going to last anyway. It's not high quality. But that's not how you treat something that you pay a significant amount of money for. So again, it's not about money. It is about what money means to the other person. And so asking for money gets them to commit. That's your question of, are you going to commit to making your dream come true? Are you going to commit to achieving this goal? Because most people don't commit to themselves. They don't commit to their goals. And your job in a sales conversation is to get them to make a commitment. So that's what the call to action actually looks like. And at that time, they will decide yes, no, or not a commitment. If they decide not to do a commitment, your idea is to keep talking with them, using their own words, reminding them about their goals, compelling them out of their own self-interest to make a commitment, to make a decision, whatever that decision will be. And so if they decide, yes, I am going to commit to this goal. I'm going to commit to getting this thing that I really want. Then you walk into the E. And this is the fun and important part, and a lot of people forget to do this. This is embrace your client, right? So you want to validate their decision. It is a very stressful process to make a decision. You want to let them know that they've made an excellent decision, that you are there to support them all the way through the finish line. You want to talk about what is possible, what you two are going to be able to achieve together. And then you want to give them an overview of what to expect. What are the next steps that are coming up? Great. You've made an excellent decision to enroll in the program and to get started, taking charge of your health. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to send you a coaching agreement. You're going to sign it, and we're going to meet at the gym on Monday. So pull out your calendar and let's schedule our first session, right? So whatever your process is, but you want to give them an overview of what to expect so they don't get nervous. And if you are meeting with them, if this is a consultation and you're providing a service, not a product, then you want to schedule the first date of your service with them so that they know this is coming up, right? So that's the process. It is I service, again, the idea of you. And you do the intention setting before you get on the call, then you socialize and set the agenda, you explore the goal, recount the challenges, validate and share your plan to achieve it, invite feedback, invite them into the program, do your call to action, compel them to make a decision based on their own self-interest, and then embrace your new client and show them the way. So I encourage you to have this with you throughout all of your sales conversations. And just as you're going through, just check what box you've just completed so that you can keep the order and follow along. It will get more natural and more familiar the more you do it, but it's helpful just to have that there as a template. But the idea is not for you to apply a formula where you're saying the same thing to every person. It is for you to show up, be fully present, be an active listener, and give them your full attention, your curiosity, and your compassion. And think about this as if this was your sister, if this was your mother, if this was your child, and they had this problem, what would you want someone to do for them? And that's how you show up and serve that other person. So I am excited to see you put this system to use for you in your business. If you have further questions, please do reach out to me via email. If you'd like to practice your sales conversation or to go over these specific steps, you can use one of your coaching sessions for us to do that, and you can get more support in the process. And I wish you well, and I look forward to connecting with you in our next session. Take care.